Cowboy Jim, Fort McMurray. And this past week, I had the privilege of watching on Fox News about one of their reporters who, while reporting in the Ukraine in the conflict, um, the car he was riding in was blowing up, and he lost his right leg. Part of his left foot was terribly burned, and his name is Benjamin Hall. And though the recuperation time for similar travesties um, take upwards of 2 years, his healing was only about a year, and he has a long way to go. And he may still, by his admission on Fox News, he may well still lose his remaining foot. And I watched his positive attitude and his determination to live, to get back to his wife, I think 3 daughters. And when he was in the car that had been the receiving recipient of one of Putin's missiles fired from a drone, apparently, um, he was blacked out in the middle, the back seat. Of the five of them that were in the car, he was the only one who survived. His cameraman, Pierre, and I could never begin to pronounce his last name, he lived until he bled out, and he kept trying to get Ben Hall or Benjamin Hall to get himself out of the car because the car was a target that the missiles could focus on. And Ben was in the back seat, as I said, and he had, and I'm not sure if the word epiphany is the right word. I will have to look that word up. But he had a realization, so I think it could be a mental imagery, a mental picture of one um, of his daughters walking towards him, hand outstretched. And the little girl was saying, "Daddy, get out of the car. You have to get out of the car." And Ben did that. He managed to get out of the car, and his friend Pierre by then was dead, and he had to drag himself up a road, up a hill, to get the attention of passerbys, um, to get him help. And it is an interesting story. It is a story somewhat of determination rather than what some would call faith. Because he did not um, lay out his personalized belief system in a creator as much as he encouraged people to be positive, strong, to purpose in their heart, to accomplish something, to choose to live, as opposed to just giving up. And when you look at a person who is part way to a knowledge of God partway in their growth, in their, shall we say, relationship with God. They're not a finished work, okay? They're not. And the edges are a bit rough, but I sat in awe. Um, I have mentioned before, um, having had 15 surgeries. Ben had far more than that. They were just ongoing skin grafts, all that stuff. And I have known for years that I've had a pretty easy life for a determined Irishman who has always pretty well done what I chose to do and bore the cost of doing, um, shall we say, presumptively, anything I wanted. And as long as it didn't transgress the rights of others, uh, I would do it. I would take a shot where the odds were stacked against me, and I would, perhaps some people would say, put God to the test to see if he could get me through. And perhaps that's true. But anyways, I went to buy the second book that I have purchased in the last 40 years. Um, and they were sold totally out. Benjamin Hall, wrote a book, and the title of the book is Saved. And the Kohl's store that I went to, they didn't have it yet. They checked on Amazon, and they seemingly were, everyone was sold out of the book. So it may take you a while to get a copy, but I strongly encourage you to try, take a shot at Benjamin Hall. The title of the book is Saved. And I found it to be positively, not the book, I haven't read the book, but in watching the 2 or 3 interviews that he's had on Fox News, um, people don't understand it. Fox News is the only news agency that will promote, put forth the idea that there could be a creator. They don't go quite that negative. They just simply put forth the idea there is a creator and his son. And it is the reason that Fox News is one of the most hated news systems in the world because they are not afraid to speak of God and of his son Jesus. Thus, they are deigned to be terrible. I think by people who are somewhat, shall we say, narcissistic themselves. Otherwise, their judgment would not be quite so hasty, as I have heard many hasty, judgmental statements against Fox News. But 20, 25 years now, I've watched that. I find it meritorious. So, anyways, I, I hope and pray that you will consider getting that book written by Benjamin Hall called Saved. It's not a religious book, not at all. If he, in 10 years' time, if he rewrites that book, it will probably have greater, much deeper reflection on a creator and his son Jesus. But at this juncture, it's uh, it's not uh, something that religiously will offend you at all, not at all. And I will continue to try to get a copy for myself. I I want to understand um, another person who has suffered and what they've been through and how they arrive at the conclusions that they do. Okay, I try to understand people. So God bless you, and I hope you have a good day. I really think this laptop's up and running finally. Thank you. God bless you. Benjamin Hall. The book is called Saved. Thanks.